Welcome back, everybody, to We Talk Film. I'm your host, as always, Barry, joined as always by Clayton. How you doing, Clayton?
Hello. Hey, Barry. I'm doing quite well. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're back at it again, doing another podcast for the week, talking about more films, talking about more stuff that's happened in this past week. And oh my gosh, there has been a lot of things happening this past week, hasn't there, Clayton?
There has been a lot because, as always on this podcast, we like to delve into the news of the film industry. We talk about everything that's happened. We give you the latest news and stories coming straight out of film and entertainment. And we had a lot this week. I'd like to kick it off with some trailers that we got. We got a bunch of new trailers for movies and shows and everything. It's insane. This has been an action-packed week. The first one that I'd like to talk about is Godzilla -1, the Japanese film that's going to come out quite soon. And also one of like the 15 Godzilla things we've gotten this couple weeks.
There's
like,
so much Godzilla stuff going on at the moment. I'm just like, which one am I watching? Which one am I going to watch? Everyone loves Godzilla this year. Is it Year of the Godzilla?
I guess. But I guess to answer your question of which one should I watch, this one definitely looks the best. It's set straight after World War II and is set in Japan. It's in Japanese. And it definitely feels like a modern take on like the original 50s movie because this is insane. It looks really good. And it looks like a fun time. So I'm excited to check that one out. We also got a trailer for The Fall Guy starring Ryan Gosling. And this movie doesn't look as good.
No,
looks kind
it's
of
just
stupid.
another like.
Yeah, it's definitely feels like a cash grab for the actors. Like this is just a side gig. It follows a stuntman as he has to do it for real. We've seen this movie 100 times. It's the movie actor has to play their part. You know, it's Galaxy Quest, but a stuntman. We've seen this
guy
movie
has
before.
to do it, and it's just it's just got Ken in it. That's the only reason I'm going to see it. That's the only reason why I'm seeing it is because it's got Ryan Gosling in it. Oh, and Emily Blunt as well. So they're
she's in it.
The biggest actors in Hollywood. So and they're both pretty good.
Why not?
So I'll still have a look. I'll still have a look at it.
Oh sure, why not? Speaking of things that looked that's not even the right transition. Speaking of things, we got a trailer for a new Planet of the Apes movie. This one's titled Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and follows Caesar's son Cornelius. Distant relative.
It's based, several generations after the rise of Caesar. So basically more along the lines.
Someone said it was his son.
No, it's not. Yeah, because I did my thorough research on this. Like, wait a minute, are they continuing? It's like, no, this is like based several generations after Caesar's reign. And they still haven't said that if this main character is tied to Caesar. I suspect so. Obviously they got to keep it to the original trilogy, but this is like obviously the new one that starts off the new trilogy on whatever they're planning to do.
Yeah, they're just slowly getting towards where the original movie is, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Like it looks fine.
I'm looking forward to it
as the other ones, but I'm sure that it'll be fun. At least the Planet of the Apes movies are always fun, and this new Rise trilogy was pretty great. So I am happy to see more Planet of the Apes. Why not get closer to the original films? See what happens. Oh boy, this last trailer that we got is probably the most out there one. This is the one that surprised me the most. We got a trailer for Echo, the latest Disney Plus Marvel show that's going to come out in January.
Yes, something like that.
This was not what I was expecting when I saw a trailer for Echo had come out.
When you sent me that, I was just like, "Oh, damn! Okay, they're being serious about this show."
Boy, so basically, we got a bunch of news regarding this show. It is going to be the first MA-rated MCU show. So this is a big step as well. Like that's insane to show that. But also the director confirmed that the show Echo is a villain. The director says that Echo is definitely a villain. So this makes the first MCU thing to be set from a villain's perspective in that sense. So it's already doing a bunch of different things, and it's starring Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin, and Charlie Cox's Daredevil is also in this trailer for like a split second.
Yep,
This is
yep.
insane. It looks bloody and violent
Oh
and
yeah.
gripping. The
Yep.
Kingpin looks just as menacing as ever, so I'm actually kind of hyped for this show. And I never thought I'd
Yeah,
say that
well,
about
that's the
Echo.
thing at the moment. Obviously with how Loki's going and everything like that. Their shows hopefully are going a bit of a high at the moment. And yeah, I did not expect the trailer to look as well as it
Yeah.
did for this show. I was thinking it was just going to be like kind of Hawkeye level type thing.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was just like, no, this is like its whole thing. But obviously, yeah, they're paving the way for Deadpool, which is still going to be an R-rated film. So
Yeah. I mean, this shows that Marvel are open to doing more and more adult-themed stuff. I mean, this
yep,
Deadpool, Werewolf by Night was MA rated, but that was just a presentation, a special
yep,
thing. This is a show. This is a mainline show. This is getting Lego sets as well.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like this is the first ever MA thing to get a Lego set.
yeah.
It's like weirdly evolving the Marvel brand, and I'm all for it because we need more variety. The reason Loki is doing so well is because it's so different and so well written. And just judging from the trailer, it looks like Echo might be both of those things as well. It's like different
Hopefully,
again, and hopefully well written.
yep.
Um, Apparently, Echo in the show will not have her comic powers. In the comics, Echo kind
Okay.
of has a Taskmaster thing where she can kind of copy moves. Um,
Yeah.
the the director said that that's kind of lame, so they're not doing that. But it's kind of unsure what they're doing instead. I think it's just she's good at fighting. It's kind of like a
Yep. Yep.
Daredevil level sort of person. But we'll see the show when it comes out next year. We'll see if it's any good. All right, moving on to the main stories this week. We got some more Western Australia related news. As always, this podcast is coming straight out of Perth and surrounding areas. We like to bring up some local news whenever we hear of it. A film that is set to be filmed here in February, called We Buried the Dead, is bringing a bunch of film work as it's starring Daisy Ridley, and it's going to be like a really big production according to it. So we just like to bring that up as like that's a really
Yeah.
cool thing that's
No, that's a
happening.
really cool thing that's happening in our local area. We don't get it too often.
Yeah,
Well, obviously, yeah, like no one bothers really coming over to here make feature films, and hopefully this one does
not
quite well,
really.
and we can see Daisy Ridley in WA. Maybe she comes to Perth. We'll be like,
Yeah.
hey, how you doing? You know, we got Nicolas Cage here at the moment as well. He's down south, so you know.
Yeah, he's filming a movie here. Daisy Ridley's doing one another year. Jai Courtney's filming a movie out in York as well called Runt. So it's like there's a
Yep, yep.
bunch of stuff happening in WA,
Going
and
on
it's
at the moment.
really, really good. And
Yeah.
hopefully we can get involved in some of them. That'd be good.
Hopefully, it would be really amazing to get
We'll
anyone
see.
that's worked on any of those sets to come onto the podcast as well. So if you're
Hell yes.
listening, let us know.
Yeah. If you're
We're
listening and
talking
want
to
to
you,
come on,
Nick
we will have
Cage.
you. We know you're an avid listener. We know you love our Barbenheimer episode the best. We know you watched that
Yep.
one.
Yep.
All right. All right, moving on to the other side of the world. Over in America. The President of the United States, Mr. Joe Biden himself,
Mr.
has
Joe Biden
put out a
himself.
Oh man, he has signed an order, like an industry order that's going to
Hmm.
introduce new industry standards over the use of AI, like across the board. After watching Mission
That's
Impossible
right.
7,
Yeah. Yep.
he watched Mission Impossible 7, got kind of scared that AI is going to take over, and now he's signing a bunch of laws about AI.
Just imagine him. He's like probably just like half falling asleep on the bed, and he like wakes up, and then all of a sudden there's Tom Cruise running, and then there's AI going. And you're like, "Fucking hell, Tom Cruise, run away from the AI!" He had like a heart attack.
He probably thought it was real, honestly. He was
Probably
like,
did.
"Oh, this documentary is insane. I gotta do something." Mr. President, calm down, sir.
Oh man.
That's insane. It takes a movie to do change like that. Like, God, man. Sure, why not? Mr.
Yep.
President, if you're listening, go watch our review on Mission Impossible 7. Maybe that will help with your lawmaking.
Yeah, you know, and also as well, just we got all these avid listeners. Mr. Joe Biden himself listens.
Yes.
Come on the podcast.
We have 3 listeners, and one of them is Joe Biden. Yeah.
What about Joe Biden?
Oh, God. All right. Last of Us, a show that we reviewed on this podcast, is getting a second season. And it's going into
Yes.
production early next year. So it seems like we're going to be seeing that show sooner than we think. If it's going into production next year, that would mean a 2025 release probably. So
Yep.
around 2 and a bit years after the first season came out, which is pretty reasonable. And I'm like really excited to see a second season adapted of the game. So I'm great to see
Yes.
that.
No. Yeah, very much looking forward to seeing the season 2 of that show, especially with hopefully some of the casting decisions on new characters. Fingers
Oh
crossed we
yes.
find out who comes into that soon enough. And hopefully we can
Yes,
get one
that
of
would
them
be
onto
cool.
the podcast. That would be kind of cool.
It would be very cool. And nevertheless, so we got to get some more guests on this show, man.
We got to get more guests on the
We'll put out some
podcast, like Joe
ads.
Biden and Nick Cage.
Yeah, yeah. They're lined up. We're just waiting for
Yeah,
their
yeah. We're
schedules
just
to
waiting for the
align. They'll
schedules
get
to
back to
line.
me. Yeah, yeah. We're coordinating emails right now. You.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll come soon enough. Don't worry about it. Speaking of things, yeah. Ignore the transition. Pretend I said something really funny. We're getting a movie based on Barbenheimer, like both of them together. This doesn't make any sense. There's a
Nope,
movie
nope.
with a budget of $1 million going
Yep.
into production that follows a scientist in Doltopia who tries to take out humanity with a nuclear bomb. It is like a parody of the two movies put together, based off of the whole cultural phenomenon that was July's Barbenheimer. So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
oh
And it's
god,
just
this
like,
movie's gonna
let's
suck.
go.
This movie's gonna be bad.
I'm really hoping they actually get like Barbie dolls and recreate it as a stop motion thing.
It's
And
like,
be like,
oh, it's
this is
like Team America?
Barbenheimer. Yeah, why not?
It's like
Let's
Team
go for
America?
it.
That'd be cool.
Like Team America. That would be kind of cool.
What? They get Cillian Murphy to voice the main like Barbie? That would be insane.
Well, he wanted to be in Barbie. So
Oh, man. Yeah,
that
sure,
would be
why
great.
not?
That would be great.
You know what, he'd honestly probably be down for it if it was a higher budget thing, because this
Yep.
feels kind of just like a joke, but we'll never know. We'll wait till we get a trailer for it before we decide.
Yes.
All right. Moving on, our next story coming out of Marvel. This is regarding the Blade reboot that was in the works. It was announced that it recently got like pretty much entirely scrapped and they were starting over. Mahershala Ali stated that he was going to leave the project due to creative differences, and some more details about that have resurfaced. Obviously, the Logan writer has been attached now to rewrite it, and apparently that's going really well. Ali, who wasn't supposed to be the main character, is very happy with it now. But
Yep.
originally, the film was set to have a female lead, and Blade, the title character, was going to be the fourth main character, which is a little weird.
That
Considering-
is very stupid.
Yeah.
The movie is
You're
meant to be about Blade, and you're just gonna make him the
Yeah.
third main character. It's like, I
don't
don't
know.
think that's how it works, Disney, or whoever was in
No,
charge of
it's-
writing it at the time.
It's very weird because it's like it was supposed to star a female character. We don't know who that was.
Mia
We don't know
Goth
if that had
character.
if it was any relation to any Marvel character, or if it was their own thing, or it was weird. It just feels weird because
Yeah.
it's like if you wanted to do a thing starring them, name it after them, like do like an
Yeah.
Echo.
Yep,
It does
something
don't
like
make it your
that.
Blade movie. That's kind of weird.
It is a bit weird.
It definitely feels very weird, and I'm very glad that Marvel have gone, okay, this isn't working. Let's start again. Let's do it properly. Let's make sure
And
everyone
they
who's
got
involved
the guy that
creatively
wrote
is happy.
Logan, which is one of the best Marvel superhero films ever made. So,
Yeah.
hey, let's see
I
where
mean,
that
makes
goes.
sense. A Logan-style movie featuring Blade, just
That
in
would
terms
be
of
amazing.
storytelling alone,
That would be
is
amazing.
an amazing idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that's good. That's what you should have done from the beginning. And sure. That's really cool. All right, speaking of it, all right, moving away from Marvel to something other Disney related. The Simpsons is another Disney-owned property. Oh boy, this is a story that I don't know how to feel about, Barry. And I don't
Are
know
they
if you've heard
canceling
of
it?
this.
Are they canceling it?
No, they're not canceling it, but
Ah.
they're changing it again slightly. The Simpsons will no longer feature like one of their most recurring jokes. Like Homer Simpson will no longer strangle Bart Simpson because the times have changed.
Oh, okay.
Like-
yeah. Well,
That's
that's the thing. I
that's
haven't
it.
watched
Weird.
Simpsons in forever, but that's just, yeah, that is a very weird thing just to be like, oh, we're taking that out. And it's just like,
I don't know.
okay. Like, I don't think you
Um,
need to, but it's just like,
it's
I don't
weird.
think, when was the last time they actually showed it on The
I couldn't
Simpsons?
tell you. I haven't watched The Simpsons since, like, season 14. But,
Yeah.
the funny thing is it's the statement they put out is like, "The times are changing. This is no longer acceptable." It's like, strangling your son wasn't acceptable in the late '80s
Even
when the
back
show first
then.
came out either.
Yeah.
Like, it it's supposed to show how flawed Homer is. It's
Yep.
supposed to be this joke of like, "Huh, he's an idiot. He shouldn't be doing that."
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
feels kinda
that's
weird.
really strange and bizarre.
And
You know.
I don't know why they had to announce it, like, this is a big
Yeah.
thing. If it's
Just
okay, if you're
end
not
the
gonna do
show.
the joke.
Just end the show already. Like
Mm,
half the voice cast is already dead anyway.
it's very weird.
It
It's
is
just
very
weird.
weird.
I don't know. Sure, whatever, Simpsons, you keep kicking the dead horse that is your show, and
Yep.
we will not watch it. We will keep watching the old seasons that are good. Um,
Unless you're Jason.
anyway,
Um,
unless you're yeah, shout out Jason, you listen to the news you watch the new Simpsons like an idiot because it looks better.
nobody likes you, Jason. Nobody.
What a what a dumbass. Alright, that's it for the news. What are we talking about this week, Barry?
Oh man. So this week we are talking about let me play you a little clip.
Breathe. Calm.
Prepare to be excited.
This is what it takes. If you want to succeed. Hey.
So yes,
Wait.
this week we are talking about David Fincher's new film, The Killer. This was on our list for a must-watch this year, especially when I found out about it and watched the first trailer for it. I was like, this sold me straight away. David Fincher coming in with Michael Fassbender to do a film. I loved it. So let me tell you a little bit of the plot line about this phenomenal film we went to go and see. So a man solitary and cold, methodical and unencumbered by scrumbles of regrets. The killer waits in the shadows, watching his next target. And yet, the longer he waits, the more he thinks about losing his mind, if not his cool. A brutal, bloody, stylish noir story, professional assassin lost in a world without moral compass. This is a case study of a man alone, armed to the teeth, slowly losing his mind. So yes, you and I went to go and see The Killer this past week. It is only at selected cinemas. It is coming to Netflix on the 10th of November. So it is coming soon to Netflix as well as a Netflix funded movie, but obviously it was released in selected cinemas as well. And oh my gosh, what a wonderful little film.
Oh man.
I was not expecting it to be this well done, especially when it was just like, oh, it's a Netflix film. Here we go. But you could definitely tell David Fincher put his own style and spin to it as well. And I also, when I was researching about it today, it's actually based upon a graphic novel that David Fincher read back in the 90s.
Okay.
Not necessarily like straight onto the novel, because the novel is like at the beginning of the film when he's doing the first assassin hit, where we first see him and he's narrating his own voice and everything like that. And he actually talks about how he became an assassin. That's what the graphic novel's about. But obviously they've just done more with that, in more of this universe and everything like that. So yeah, did you want to take it away, Clayton, on what you have to say about this film?
Oh yes, I would love to. So yeah, again, I didn't know anything about this film. I watched the first trailer when you brought it up and was like, this looks really cool. I have no idea what this film is going to be, but I'm really excited to see it. And then I sat down in the theater, and the first 10, 15 minutes of this movie blew me away. Like, the opening of this is my favorite part. It's just him in a room, getting ready to kill someone, talking to himself, biding time for the perfect moment, and it goes on forever as he's talking to himself, getting more stressed out, and you're getting stressed out because you're like, what's going to happen? Is he going to do it? What's going on? And then, like, I don't think I've ever seen this in a movie where he misses.
Yeah,
like,
he's
a
fucked
terrible.
up.
he messes up big time.
Yeah.
Like, usually in a movie like this, like, I don't know, like a John Wick or a James Bond, the opening scene always goes well, and then it goes down from there, right? This
Yeah.
one goes down from the straight away. He
Oh, yeah.
messes up his
Yep.
first thing. He's not a very good killer. 'Cause
No.
he he panics, and he fumbles, and a lot of this is just him worrying about stuff, a lot of anxious,
Yeah.
a lot of nervousness going into actually killing someone. It feels very real in that
Yeah.
regard. So yeah, basically the movie opens with Michael Fassbender trying to kill this guy, and he shoots a girl by mistake, and then so he has to go on the run.
Yep.
And he ends up going back to his hometown, in, like, Colombia or somewhere, and goes to see his wife has been, like, attacked
Yeah,
by people.
Thailand or something, his girlfriend, and yeah, found out
I
she got
thought it was
attacked
I
by
think it was
people.
South America.
Was it South
It
America?
was it was I think so. It was something like
Okay.
that. But anyway, then he basically has to go down, track the people that hurt her and the person that hired them. So he basically spends this movie hunting 3 different people.
Yeah.
And quite a lot of that time is spent just getting around.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
things, changing locations, getting ready, lots of planning, lots of
Yeah, it
just
shows you
trying
like
to make sure
everything
everything
in
goes
his
well.
voice and everything like that. Like, because this is the
Oh,
fun
yeah.
thing, what they've done so well with this film. It is a very silent film, and I love it because it's very
Yeah.
reminiscent of like old noir films and everything like that. But he's basically like narrating the movie the entire time. Like,
I
there's
love it.
very little conversation between the actors you have on screen and everything like that. It's actually Michael Fassbender. Well, like I said, yeah, in the first 15 minutes, which is still phenomenal, just that
It's
whole build
awesome.
up to it, because it's what obviously sets off the rest of the events of the film because he fucked up. He is literally just narrating what he's going to do and everything like that. And then it's like, well, that's not happening now because I fucked up. And so now he needs to go and find these other people. And oh man,
Yeah.
it was great.
Oh, man. Probably my favorite part, or one of my favorite parts of this movie, is how much of the narration is him calming himself down,
Yeah.
talking him
Yep.
through things, trying to calm and literally calming his heart rate. We see that quite often. His watch shows his heart rate so that he
Yep.
doesn't mess up. He's trying to calm himself, deal with the anxiety that's coming from everything that is happening around him. And it's so insanely well done because it's like there's no talking in this movie apart from him talking to himself in his head.
Yep.
It's so good. Like, you wouldn't think that a movie like this would really work or be entertaining the whole way through,
No, but
considering not a lot happens. There's lots of gaps between the action and there's lots of gaps between the important plot.
Yep.
But it's so gripping, it's so tense, and it really makes you feel, I guess, nervous for him mostly. You feel
yeah.
his anxiety, his nervousness throughout the film.
Yeah, it very much puts you in the mindset of Michael Fassbender's character. And another thing as well, which I absolutely love, we don't get any reference to his real name or anything like that because all throughout the movie he
I
has
love
different
it.
identities and stuff like that. And it's just like he's just referred to as like the killer or this guy or that guy. And we actually never find out his real name or who he actually is, which is another phenomenal thing. Because yeah, obviously from the events from the beginning, what ends up happening, the guy who contracted that job wants a clean slate and everything like that. So then other assassins, try and find Michael Fassbender's killer, but obviously they find his girlfriend instead. They whack her. Don't kill her, though. Just really, really badly hurt her and put her in hospital. But then Michael Fassbender's like, I ain't having any of this. So then he goes on the hunt after them. He then goes to his, the lawyer character, the lawyer Hodges. And basically he's like, I know you gave my information because you're the only person with my information who does all this. Goes through a methodical plan of how he is going to get into his office, already starting after the hospital scene where he's getting like the letter ready from his girlfriend. So he already had this like 2 days beforehand. He was sending a letter so he could get access in as I think it was as a garbage man or something like that. Like if you did it at the right timing,
recycling dude,
recycling dude. So he could get into the office. And then from there, he accidentally kills the lawyer character before getting the information. And it just, that just excels even more. Luckily, though, the lawyer had an assistant and she had the details of the 2 assassins that came out. So he basically kidnaps her, gets rid of the body. They go to her place where she's got the details. And then they go through the information, trying to find all the code words, all the details, and who supplied the job and where they'll be and stuff like that. And obviously, he is still an assassin. He shows no remorse, and that's very much a thing. And this lady, I honestly thought he was going to spare her because he spares her at the office scene. I thought he was going to get rid of her straight then. But no, after the scene where he's at his place, when she's walking down the stairs, just goes up behind her, twists her neck, so it makes it look like an accident of her falling down the stairs. I was just like, what the hell? Because that happened so quick. I wasn't expecting it.
It does. And a lot of that scene is him talking to himself, being like, show no emotion, show no remorse. And you can see it in his eyes, as he doesn't want to kill these innocent people. He doesn't want to hurt these people, but he needs to in order to protect him and protect his wife and get to the people that killed his wife. He's not a good guy throughout this entire movie. He's an awful person. And it's him dealing with that, the fact that he's awful and the fact that he's far from perfect. Barely anything in this movie goes right for him. So it's such a well done little story. I love it. I really want to see more. Because as we go from there, he goes into killing the two people that beat his wife up. He goes to Florida first.
Yeah, Florida first. Basically, and he finds the brute.
Known as the brute, this big, muscly guy who he basically plans to sneak into his house and get him. He feeds his dog some sleeping pills and knocks his dog out. Goes in and you think he's gonna get him, and then all of a sudden there's this massive fight scene in his house where he gets absolutely beat up. Michael Fassbender gets the shit kicked out of him by this big dude, which makes sense because the dude's huge and he got the drop massive on him. But and so Michael Fassbender has to use a fire poker and stuff to get him off of him and eventually gets him. It is insanely
such a brutal fight scene as well. And that's the thing, Michael Fassbender's character, he's barely just keeping up with the guy and trying to grab all the objects and stuff like that and pushing him against things. But it felt real. And this is another thing as well, comparing it to probably John Wick movies and everything like that. This actually felt more of a real fight that you would see in real life because of how messy it was than what you would see in John Wick.
Yes,
because that's the thing with John Wick. It's very choreographed and everything like that. This actually felt like these two guys were just going at it and just whatever they could grab, whatever they could do to survive or kill one another. That was basically it. This is probably the most authentic fight I've seen in a very long time in a film because it was just absolutely brutal.
It definitely felt that way. Yeah, comparing it to some of the more modern John Wicks, which my problem with those ones is just how over the top they are. They feel very stylized and very choreographed, almost like a dance. Whereas this definitely felt like two guys fighting for their lives. And I still like that about John Wick. I like its kind of stylized nature, but this was on another level of just how real that it felt. And it of course, people getting thrown through walls and shit. It was never 100% accurate, but it's you're in the moment. You believe it. You don't believe that it's not real for a second. This movie works really well, every step of the way. So eventually he gets the drop on the brute, and then he goes over to kill the ancient one, Tilda Swinton. He meets her in a restaurant.
The expert. Okay.
And this was the very opposite of a fight scene. This was a long conversation that they had, and then it ends with her trying to trick him, but he doesn't fall for that because he's smarter than that. He's smart, but he's not lucky, so he kills her. But so then what does it go after that? It leads to what, the last 40 minutes?
Yeah, the last guy. So basically the guy that set out the original contract at the beginning to kill the guy that he was meant to kill at the beginning, obviously wanted the slate clean and everything like that. So Michael Fassbender's character is just all right, I'll go and find this guy and put an end to him type thing. Well, that's what we're led to believe anyway. There's a whole 40-minute sequence going towards the edge of the film where he puts this meticulous plan of getting to this guy's apartment through all the security and everything like that, days prior beforehand, setting everything up. And how does this movie end? He doesn't even kill the guy. He just walks into his apartment, threatens the fuck out of him, and he's like, if you do this shit again, I'll come back and do something far worse than just killing you. Because didn't he say he was he'll poison him during the coffee or something like that, and his face will slowly melt off over 3 months? I was like, what the fuck?
He's like, I know like a dozen ways that I could get to you without you ever knowing, like a speck of like irradiated dust on your coffee cup that'll melt your face over a long period of time, give you cancer and you won't even know. Stuff like that. Just to threaten the dude. The dude didn't even really know him. He was like, man, I just try to tie up loose ends with a killer that I don't ever meet because it goes through the middleman, which was the lawyer. So Michael Fassbender just showing up and being like, dude, I can kill you like a 12 dozen ways before you like can blink. I've already planned out 3 of them, and then just not kill him, just leave him. It was like, insane. I was expecting a big brutal fight finale, and he's like, no, I just spent so long trying to get in here just to tell you I could kill you at any moment. Leave me alone. I'm going to chill with my wife. So I was like, okay, sure. That was awesome. And then, he goes and chills with his wife, and that's the movie.
Goes to his wife, and that's the movie.
There's really only like 3 plot points in this movie, but just the journey between them is so entertaining and rich. Lots of him going around. Planning,
that's the
thinking,
thing. Just the entire time, you're literally, as the audience member, you are stuck in the head of the killer character because of the narration and everything like that, and even subtle cues and everything like that. Even from the beginning, the sound design in this movie is on point. Whoever was like the sound design person behind this movie, like phenomenal job. Everything from when he's listening to music, which apparently calms him. So basically there's points at the beginning where he's like casing the place and looking at his scope and everything like that for the sniper shot. You have scenes where when you're looking at Michael Fassbender's character, I'll explain it for the audience. When you're looking at Michael Fassbender's character, you hear like the audio of what he's listening to, how you would like normally in real life type thing, like all that fuzzy and teeny, like it's coming out someone's ears. But when you go into the first person perspective of what he's looking at, you actually hear the music clear like he would. And I was like, that is such a good attention to detail. And even as well with the heartbeat monitor, when that was playing, the music was actually keeping up a beat with his actual heart as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Which I was like, that's another BPM. Phenomenal job. And that's the thing, he gets to that point where before he goes and attacks the brute, because he's doing out of pure emotion type thing, he actually gets rid of the heartbeat monitor for the rest of the thing because he's not going off that now. He's just going straight for the kill type thing. And then it doesn't really like obviously line up anymore because he's not as methodical as the first like kill that he was planning to do and everything like that. So it's just those small attention to details that they put into this film. Especially when I didn't really know much about this film either going into it, or like I didn't know it was based upon a graphic novel. All I knew, David Fincher was behind it. Michael Fassbender, who's a very underappreciated actor, was going to be in it, and then it was just like, oh wow, this is a standout film. Like this is one of those films like similar thing of like same as Driver almost, where your main character doesn't really speak whatsoever, but when he has those moments, or Drive, has those moments, like it's big moments with the character. And this is like a similar type of vein. The reason why I love it so much is because it is a very quiet film. There are very long scenes of him not even talking and everything like that. He's just looking, planning, seeing what he's going to do. And then it's also like terrifying that you can just buy stuff on Amazon, and what he does are just very basic things to do what he basically does.
Yeah, that's another thing. The movie shows you how he's doing everything. Is like, if you wanted to scan this card, there's a card reader on Amazon for $47 you can get that will do the job. Or, you know, you can go to your hardware store, buy these 3 things and kill a person, It's like, this is insane. Dude did his research. But also, one thing I'd like to mention is the soundtrack to this movie is really good. It's all just the Smiths. Like, the dude, dude loves the Smiths.
He loves the Smiths.
That's all it plays. And so that was really fun to see because I wasn't expecting that either. And another thing is this film won Best Soundtrack at the Venice International Film Festival as well.
Okay.
It was nominated for the best film. It didn't win that, but it won best soundtrack. So I was like, that's really cool. And of course the sound design definitely helps with that. The moments that are cutting in and out, all of that we talked about. But this movie was just so entertaining because I wasn't expecting anything that they did. And I wasn't expecting them to do it all so well. I'm honestly, I want to go back and just rewatch the first 20 minutes of this movie over and over because I love that. I'm definitely going to watch it when it comes out on Netflix again because this movie was awesome. But I honestly, I'm hyped if they do a sequel to it because I want to see
that
him
would
do
be
more
really cool. Yeah.
do more killing stuff. I want him to, up the stakes and have him be forced to, test his skills out. Show him trying to poison someone.
Oh yeah.
Show him doing some like Hitman style missions.
Well,
Even
that's
do a
the thing.
prequel where it's just some
That would be
things,
cool. Like,
him
yeah,
going
actually
around.
showing him
Yeah.
how he became like the deadly assassin. But yeah, that was the other thing with this, like a bit more. I was kind of hoping to see like it would go more into detail about not him just like straight up killing a person, but more of like the slow kill type thing, like using poison or something like that. That's what I was kind of hoping to see, maybe towards that end part with the big boss that put out the contract and stuff like that in the beginning. I was hoping he would do like this whole plan and preparation and everything like that, whole thing. But it still delivered more than what I was expecting out of it. Like I said, it would be really cool to see a sequel to this film or a prequel, whatever they do. Very unlikely, just because David Fincher doesn't really like to do sequels to his films.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever done a sequel
Fair
before.
enough.
But it also depends on how well it does on Netflix as well, being obviously a Netflix-funded film and everything like that. So everyone that's watching this podcast right now, go and watch this on November 10th when it sees it, and get everyone else, like your mum, your grandma, get everyone watching The Killer, because it is a wonderful, violent, anxiety-filled movie. Like, this is another film that's like puts you in the mindset, the head of a character. And the only other film that's done it this year for me is Oppenheimer. Right? And that's the thing. With Oppenheimer, it really much put you in the headset of the character Oppenheimer and everything like that. And I feel like this movie has done that same type of thing. But obviously, this guy's a hitman and he's narrating and killing people. And it's just like, he's just having like the bad day. He's just like, this is the worst things possible that's happening to him.
Yeah.
You know, he fucked up on his job. Now they're coming after his girlfriend. He's just like, all right, I got to take care of these guys. And when he goes to take care of the brute, he gets fucked up as well because he didn't expect him to be that big. He wanted it to be quiet and everything like that. But then, it just ends with like kind of low, non-high action ending to it, which is quite surprising. They've almost done like a reverse of your normal films, where you start kind of low and end with the high action, where in this film, it's kind of gone in reverse. Like, you started with the big assassination. That was like 20 minutes of him planning and prepping and everything like that, where it goes towards the end, where he's just like, I planned and prepped and everything like that. And he's just like, I'm not going to kill you, but don't do this stuff again. Which is
really
very
loved
interesting.
It for it.
Yeah,
it was so different, and it's just a refreshing movie, especially coming off of the heels of watching some later releases and just some generic boring stuff. This is just something completely different and something really entertaining. So definitely check it out on Netflix when it comes out. But should we move to some final thoughts and ratings of The Killer?
Yeah, so
we go
final
to the second
thoughts
half of
and
today's
ratings.
episode?
Yes. Did you want to give your rating first, or you want me to go?
I can give my ratings first. So,
Go
The
for
Killer. Oh boy, it is an anxiety-filled film. You get put into this guy's head and you never leave it. You spend 2 hours wandering around the like different countries as he plans and kills and does all of this entertainingly tense stuff. It's great. I think the fact that this movie is just so different sets it apart from everything else that we've seen this year, and definitely sets it apart from stuff in its genre, like a John Wick or a James Bond, Mission Impossible sort of kind of action spy-esque hitman-y sort of thing. And this, definitely feels way more realistic, way more toned down, but just so much more dramatic, so much more tense and anxious and nervous you feel throughout this film is insane. It's great. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because I can't praise this film more than I can, really. More than I have. It's so hard to talk about it because it's such a good movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. This movie was absolutely phenomenal. Like you said, we didn't really hear much about it besides watching the first trailer for it. And then it was going to be this massive thing done by David Fincher. And it truly is. Like, this is like literally the best adaptation of like the Hitman games like ever. Like this, I put this as like probably the singular best Hitman or assassin type movie in regards to these characters.
Probably right.
I can't think of another one right now that I've been like so shocked or amazed by. That's the thing, and by this film. So I'm giving this a 9.5 because I love Michael Fassbender's performance in this. He is absolute standout. And anyone that wants to watch other things with him, go and watch Macbeth. He did an amazing Macbeth film a few years ago. But this is like just another. Yeah. Hey, I still love him. He's played an assassin. Yeah, he's played an assassin. I still like Michael Fassbender is one of those actors. I feel like he's not utilized enough, but when he does come onto movies and everything like that, he's the absolute standout of that film. Yeah. He is amazing, and I want to see him in more stuff. And hopefully, we get a sequel to this film. Netflix are like, "Hey, this movie did quite well. Let's go and make another one," because this was absolutely tremendous, and I'm probably going to definitely watch it a few times when it comes out on Netflix. Yeah. So,
fingers crossed, because it's a Netflix film. They might be like, "Hey, do a sequel. It's made us money." Who knows? It might even be different people doing a sequel.
We'll see. We'll see.
But yeah, Michael Fassbender was definitely the star of this show. But yeah, The Killer. Everyone go check it out. What's up next, Barry? What's happening now? What's going on?
Next we have Loki.
Season 4 is on its way. Come on, you're the god of mischief. Always have been. Always will be. Over the top, don't you?
So yes, we are on to the second last episode of Loki season 2, and oh my gosh, this show has been absolutely phenomenal. I am putting this as now probably the best MCU show they have done. That's it. Whoever's in charge of writing this, whoever's doing this show, I'm this round of applause right now. Just what these guys are doing is phenomenal. So I'll just give you a bit of a plot line for this week's episode. So Loki's friends are reset to their old lives, and he must restore them to keep the timelines from dying. But Loki soon realizes that he has his own selfish motives for bringing them back, while trying to figure out why he's the only one unaffected. So yes, this come on the backbone of last week's episode, where basically the TVA got blown up. And we're just like, what the hell?
Died.
Everybody died. The end. All MCU's all over now. Just go over to DC. But no. So it turns out Loki is still time slipping.
Funky.
Yeah. He's getting real funky with things now, but now he's doing it at the end of time where there's no time, and he's still time slipping. And now he can go back to other timelines of where people are and everything on their own timelines. And it's just like, what the hell's going on? He's basically getting in like a whole new set of powers now where he can time travel. That's basically the gist of this episode. Loki has now powers to time travel. And it's just like, what?
It's insane. You know how I think it was a couple weeks ago I mentioned how this show was a lot like the best episodes of Doctor Who. This one definitely cements it. This feels straight out of like a Matt Smith era finale of Doctor Who. He's got to go back through time and fix things. And I love that because I haven't seen good Doctor Who in a long time. So the fact that this is, I mean, it's probably definitely taken inspiration from the whole time travel shenanigans.
It would have to.
But yeah, no, this one just keeps stepping it up for the finale. And I have no idea what they're going to do next still. Basically Loki can control where he goes now. He works out that he can actually control the time slipping and can time travel. And he goes back to his own past, different moments through his thing, and saves his friends from different areas, and then they all die, and then he's gonna die, and then he goes back in time, and he's like, wait, I can fix things, and that's how the episode ends. This episode is set up to a finale that I don't know what's gonna happen in. So
well, that's the thing, because next week's finale apparently is going to be a runtime of 56 minutes.
Ooh.
It's going to be a very big final episode, which is cool. But it was kind of cool to see this episode around. We actually got to see every other one's character in their own timeline of what they would have been.
Yeah, we did.
So we saw Owen Wilson working as a jet ski salesperson. Finally got to ride on the jets, which makes sense.
He likes jet skis.
We got to see, is it B13, the TVA
15.
lady? 15?
B15.
Yeah. Is a doctor. That was helping a little kid. And then Casey was in Alcatraz. He was part of the Alcatraz escape. He was one of the 3 guys and stuff like that, which was really cool.
Really funny.
And OB is a science fiction writer, because obviously the title episode is called Science Fiction. And then
Mm-hmm.
his whole story apparently is about what's going on with Loki and stuff like that, or similar type of thing by the sounds of it. And he's like still a scientist type of guy, but he just became a writer instead.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, well, Loki gave him his TVA book that he supposedly wrote and be like, make a time pad out of it. And then he makes a time pad with modern technology. And it's just like, oh, that's cool.
That
and
was
so that's how they
really
get the whole
funny.
team. Yep.
Because Loki goes to find Owen Wilson's character Mobius while he gives OB the stuff, and he's like, maybe you can find a way to get us back to the TVA to fix things. And then he goes and sees Owen Wilson for about 5 seconds, and then
Yep.
OB shows back up, and he's like, oh, I made a tempad. And Loki's like, how did you make a tempad that quickly? And he's like, oh, I wouldn't say 18 months was quick. And he's like, my wife left me and everything, but I made this. So, and meanwhile, everyone's dying, things are disappearing. Like, this show maintains the best of the MCU humor,
Yes.
but also the best of the storytelling that the MCU can be known for.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
This is carrying the MCU. If Loki season 2 was bad, I would probably be crying right now. Especially after Secret Invasion being so terrible.
As bad as it
And
was.
then this being really awesome, it's insane.
And mind you, also done on half the budget as well, this show, on half the budget of Secret Invasion.
Which is so weird, because the special effects in this show look so good. The CGI looks amazing. When everything's turning into space spaghetti, like, that looks insanely good.
That's right,
There's
everyone
a
gets
scene where
spaghettified.
Sylvie's listening to a record in, like, a 70s or 80s, like, record store, and everything starts turning to spaghetti around her. It looks so good, and it pains me to say why does this show look so good and the stuff with twice the budget looks so bad? I don't get Marvel. I don't get how there's this
and that's
huge...
the thing. I think it's coming down to, like, there's so many, like, different teams and so many different productions going on at Marvel. I think at the moment, where it's coming down, they're not, like, doing so much quality control. So they'll be like, all right, we'll give you guys $200 million. You go do what you want to do type thing, where they're not really putting much effort into what they're doing and probably not spending that money wisely by the looks of it. And especially when this is done on half the budget. And then it's just like, this has been probably the most standout show they have done, besides obviously Moon Knight and the first season. So
I do love Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight's great.
I think it's season 2 of Loki, then it's Moon Knight, and then it's season 1 of Loki, and then it's I don't know, something after that, like maybe WandaVision or something. There's definitely a huge bar between those two, because this season's insanely good, and it's so mysterious. I don't know what's happening. There's no villain. They're just trying to stop everything from being destroyed and using science and magic and fixing things, and it's so entertaining and great, and I really can't wait to see what happens, especially because we have no idea what's going to happen. I got a feeling it's going to blow our minds.
Well, especially with the runtime of next week's episode. Is
that's
like
always a good sign.
What are they actually going to do type thing? And I really hope that it does, like, they do follow the same method of what they're doing with Loki for the rest of the stuff from now on type thing, because that's the thing. This has just been a standout, even comparing it to their films and everything like that. Like how the writing and just the amount of level the actors have brought into the show, like the acting in the show is phenomenal. Like the dialogue and everything like that. Obviously the writers and everything like that. Just the performances by Tom Hiddleston, by Owen Wilson, by Sylvie, and everyone in this is doing a tremendous job. Even so much so better acting than I would say in some of the films that we've had and still to come out this year, judging from trailers and everything like that. Like everyone's just bringing their A game to this show, and it's one of the cheapest things they have done for Marvel, but yet is one of their best things they have done.
Whoever the crew behind this show should be moved on to a lot bigger things. These guys should be doing the movies, because this is insane. And of course, the ending of this show leads straight into the release of the Marvels, which comes out like the week of or week after the show finishes.
I think it actually comes out next week or something like that, November 10th or something.
Week after the show finishes, something like that. So just a week or less after the show finishes, we go into the Marvels. So the fact that Loki's so good is gonna make me even more disappointed if the Marvels sucks, which I can't say I'm have the highest.
I mean, we've seen the trailers. We've seen the trailers.
Yeah.
I mean, even the director for that film dropped out, so you know.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, I heard about that. The director did not stick around for like
Nope.
any post-production or anything. The director just dipped, which is
Yeah.
not a good sign because it's
No,
like
that
there's
is
no
not a good
passion
sign.
behind that at all.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so yeah, I wish these guys were doing the movies like that. Like, can you imagine like a Captain Marvel story with this level of writing? Having her do
Oh,
cosmic adventures while things falling apart like this? That would
that'd be
be
so great.
amazing.
That would be
That would be
great.
awesome. The mystery alone behind that would be epic. That would be a greater movie than anything that they could have ever done.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
but yeah.
And that's the thing
Oh
now. It's
boy.
just like it's just building up into like what's actually going to happen in next week's episode
Yep.
and everything like that. Because obviously the way things ended on this episode, we're back from episode 4 as well. And this is another thing as well. It's only been 5 episodes and they've been able to blow us away in every single episode.
Yeah.
Like even
Yeah,
from
there
the
hasn't been a
beginning.
bad
It's
episode.
no, there has not been a bad episode
Consistently good.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because now we're back at the end of episode 4 again, where Victor Timely is still alive and everything like that. And it's going to be interesting now with Loki's new powers.
Time travel.
He can time travel. Like, how far can he go back? Can he like go wherever he wants, or he can go around?
Possibilities are endless for this
and
finale.
This is
he can
before. Yep.
Yeah.
Before we go into
like,
final ratings and everything like that, I was gonna say, did you want to try and like predict or what you hope you see in the finale?
Try and predict?
Well, what would you hope to see? What would you hope to see in the finale of this show?
What do I hope to see? I really hope to see him bump into something we've never seen before. Maybe have him come across more Kang stuff would be really cool.
Yep.
Maybe some cosmic things. Have him, I don't know, show up with have Galactus or the Silver Surfer or something insane show up. Like,
well, they are setting up Fantastic Four, so hopefully.
Weird cosmic entity that's behind everything, because there's no villain this show. That's another thing.
No.
Loki's gonna try and stop things, and they might even do something with like the Beyonder. Like that would be insane, because the Beyonder might be a Kang variant. We don't know yet if the Beyonder's gonna even be featured. But because this is supposedly going to tie into Deadpool and tie into Secret Wars and everything, maybe something like the Beyonder shows up, fixes things, takes away Loki's time travel powers. I don't know. That's kind of
thing.
what I'm thinking. I don't know. That's the thing.
There is so many. Yeah, that's the thing. Nobody knows what's going on because at the moment, if you go on the internet, everyone's just making these like various theories at the moment as to what's going on. Because a lot of people as well, they're trying to base it upon the comics and what they've done previously in the comics as well. Because at the end, at the end of what's happened with the comics, when you go to the Edge of Time, or when Loki went to the Edge of Time, he actually found an older version of himself that was in charge of all of time and basically became like what Thingy was. Well, actually, he was the guy. What Kang?
Yeah.
Because
He Who Remains.
He Remains. You know how he had a script in season 1?
Yes.
Who wrote that script? Because it wasn't He Who Remains.
So you're thinking it's going to tie into the finale? It's going to that Kang is going to be Loki?
So there is going to be a version of Loki that is actually beyond Who He Remains, who actually is in charge of everything, who actually made everything and in charge of things. But then you're going to have like variants of Kang trying to mess everything up. But imagine because this is the thing with Loki's character.
We'd have to go back
and even from the beginning of introduction of his character, he's always been the character to start off something major for the MCU. That's always been his purpose as the character, even when he was the villain from Thor and everything like that. He set off Avengers, and he was the main villain for Avengers, the first Avengers film and everything like that.
Set up Thanos,
Set up Thanos and everything like that.
Kang.
Setting up Kang, essentially. That's a very big possibility. And it would be kind of cool to actually have the variant of that was in the first season of Loki. That was the older version of Loki. I forget the actor that they got to play him, but they actually have him come back again, and he's just like this older version he finds at the edge of time type thing, being like, I did all this, like all the events I did. Because I feel like next week's episode, it's going to be a bit of like they're trying to fix the TVA, but they keep fucking up, so he's going to keep going back in time and going until they get it right type thing. Yeah, like Edge of Tomorrow type of thing until they get it right.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
But cosmic stuff. Do you think the TVA is going to survive this season? Like, do you think they're going to continue with
yes,
that sort of
I think the TVA is still going to continue just because of, well, the massive leaks that came out for Deadpool 3. Because TVA is apparently going to be in Deadpool 3. It's a very big plot point. Because that's the thing. We don't know if this is going to tie into Deadpool. It was rumored to believe that DP would make an appearance in this film. Just because, because of the wackiness that they're doing with Deadpool 3, which still sounds insane, and they still haven't given it a proper title yet, according to Sean Levy, the director for Deadpool 3. Because at the moment they're just calling it Deadpool 3, but he's like, it's more along the lines of Deadpool versus Wolverine, and then like timey-wimey stuff.
He should just call it that. That's funny.
yeah. But yeah, I will give this episode of Loki, because it's just absolutely amazing. I am just gripped to my seat, and I want to see already like next week's episode. This is another show again, really since Ahsoka and everything like that, where I'm just like, I'm loving every single episode. I love this even more than Ahsoka, just how it was written, just their acting, the performance, everything in this is so well done. And I hope whoever is like directing these episodes and writing these episodes gets put onto making the future like Avengers films and everything like that, because these guys are doing an absolute phenomenal job with their writing and everything like that, even from dialogue to how they're actually doing their massive story arc of time travel and everything like that for the show. So I'm giving this episode a 9 out of 10. Time travel is hard to do.
And they're pulling it off really well. Yeah, a 9 out of 10 from Barry. That's gonna get a great score. I'm gonna give this one an 8. I've given every episode of this show an 8 because it's been consistently great. Like an 8 is a great rating. It's only a couple points below like perfect. So the fact that this show has held that standard for so long is something we haven't seen in any MCU show or any Disney show, really.
No.
Anything Star Wars has had up and downs. MCU's had up and downs. This season of Loki
has just remained consistent.
Consistently good, which again raises the bar for the finale even more, because it's how do they stick the landing? How do they top such a consistently good season and make it climactically engaging and interesting? So, but then it's also like the possibilities are endless for this finale. So it's sitting on an 8. The finale might even raise that to a 10. Who knows? We have to wait and see what they do, because no one can predict what's going to happen, whether it's the Beyonder or Kang or Loki variants.
Well, that's the thing, because each like episode that's come out, like you watch these videos online of YouTubers making theory videos as to what's going to happen next week's episode or beyond, and they've been completely wrong every single time, and it's the funniest thing to watch at the moment, because the writers are just like outclassing everyone, and it's just like, how you thought we were going to do that? Nah, we're just doing this.
I love that they're doing what we don't expect, but they're doing it well. That's always the best. If we don't expect it, but it's good and it makes sense, that's great writing. That's how you know you're a great writer, when you can surprise people, but also like people go, wow, that's amazing. I'm glad you did that instead of what I thought you were going to do. So that alone's great. So yeah, an 8 out of 10 from me.
Nice.
Boy.
Oh boy. What an episode. It's such a great show. Man. And I cannot wait. I can't believe we have to wait basically still 5 days to watch the next one.
I can't wait.
It's just like 5 days, 5 days. But yes, I think that is going to be a wrap for this week's podcast. So make sure to follow us on all our social medias, all the stuff. We also are on YouTube for an extended version. We have the director's cut over at YouTube there, so make sure to stick around for that on YouTube. But other than that, I've been your host, Barry, joined by Clayton, and we will see you in next week's episode.
Bye-bye, everybody. I like how we always do that, and we're both out of time because of the latency. All right, let's kick Craig out, and then we'll director's cut, because we've got things that we can talk about.
We have a lot of things we can talk about.
Oh man, Barry.
Oh man. So welcome to the director's cut YouTube audience. How are we all doing? Love you to be here.
Hello.
Thumbs up on the video for us. Leave a comment. You know, who's actually watching the YouTube version? Like, I want to know who you are. I want to know. Who are you, Nick Cage? Who are you? Yeah. Oh, man.
Careful, Barry. You'll scare away our one viewer.
Oh, Joe Biden?
Joe Biden, yeah. It's
Joe
Joe
Biden.
Biden, and then it's Holly. That's our 2 YouTube viewers.
They-
I like that they're watching it together though. Like
No,
they're sharing the same phone
They're
screen.
sharing the same phone screen. Yeah, Holly's also like the Secretary of State for America. You know, she's in charge of their military. Does Biden's makeup professionally. That's why she's tired.
Yeah, she recommended Mission Impossible 7 to him. She was like, "Hey, I listened to this podcast. You should check this
Hey,
movie
it was
out."
really good.
And
You
then he
should go watch
started
it.
freaking out. And then he started freaking out. Oh God, we apologize, Holly. We know you're
Sorry,
listening.
Holly.
Oh,
right.
Barry.
So this week's director's cut.
Have you seen the finale of Gen V?
I have seen the finale of Gen V, and oh my gosh.
Because would you like to make this director's cut a YouTube only review of Gen V?
Let's go for it. Let's do that.
YouTube audience, you're in for a
YouTube
surprise.
audience, you're in for a surprise.
YouTube only review score
Yes.
for a show that is too inappropriate to talk about on our regular channel because we're known for our age appropriateness, aren't we?
Yeah,
Barry?
me swearing my head off every 5 seconds, that's for sure.
Every episode of the show has an explicit sticker.
Yeah, and that's because of me.
That's me sometimes. Anyway, Gen V finale. What do you think? What do you think, Barry?
Gen V
finale. Take it away.
Oh wow. So let me give you a little synopsis on what happens here. So basically, I also forgot what happened. Heroes will rise and bodies will explode. As Kate and Sam free the imprisoned Soups from the woods, their former friends try to stop them. As the now freed Soups go on a rampage throughout the campus, only heroic Homelander can save the day. But from who? That's right, there's a lot of Easter eggs this episode. It all kind of wraps up in a neat bow, but also leads off for Boys Season 3. Oh, Boys Season 3, Season 4? What are we up to on Boys now?
Man?
And also
Gen 4.
Oh, Season 4 of the Boys.
Gen
and
V
also Gen V Season 2.
Yeah, we're getting...
Because they did announce that.
Season
So.
Gen V.
Yes.
I will say, this show did not end the way I was going to think. I thought it was going to end.
Nope. This is another show where I was just like, what?
Yeah. But I will say this finale was probably my least favorite of the episodes.
Yeah.
Because
it was very rushed.
It was short. It was
Yes.
38 minutes. But also, quite a fair bit of it was generic. It was like, they're doing the whole, they're saving saving everyone, yada yada. And then the last 8 minutes is like, they save some people, but now Homelander shows up and he's gonna kill everyone. Oh, and now they're the bad guys, and it didn't matter anyway. And now they're locked in a room with no doors, and it's like, what the? Did any of this show matter? What? This is insane. What's going on? Where are I have more questions
what's actually going
than
on?
answers. This is I don't know where to start with this show because it's so insane. But if you want, we can give the show as a whole some overall thoughts and a review.
Oh, yeah, let's go for that. So, yeah, we'll talk about a bit more of this episode. So, obviously, we had Homelander rock up at the end being like, hey, guess what? I'm going to make you guys who thought we were watching the heroes the entire time, Marie's character and everything like that, they're actually now classified as the bad guys, as we found out at the end of the show and everything like that. Because Homeland is very much a soup-only world and everything like that, and they kind of went against Soups and tried hurting him, or actually killed other Soups. Saving humans, which Homelander doesn't like now. Homelander's on the warpath at the moment, which is obviously leading up for Season 4 of The Boys. And then we also had a little tease of the man himself, my favorite character of The Boys, Mr. Billy Butcher himself. Fucking diabolical it is. But yes, he is obviously was in the woods checking out what they were doing to the kids and everything like that. Because he did get teased in a couple episodes beforehand by the CIA agent lady.
He's after the virus.
He's after the virus.
There's a virus that can kill Soups, and he wants it because knowing Butcher, he wants that on his side. Because that might be this show is setting up Season 4 of that's a way that we can kill Homelander. Yeah. That's a way that the boys can win.
Well, they've already apparently said that this will lead straight into the events of Season 4 of The Boys. So
it makes sense.
We actually might be seeing the characters from the show actually in The Boys Season 4 as well.
You reckon? They're locked up in a weird place. Do we have any idea of what that is?
No,
some
this is a
facility?
brand new place. A lot of people there is another facility where we saw a name for. I forget what it's called, but it was in the comics as well. That we haven't seen yet in any of the shows or anything like that yet.
Okay, that might
Apparently,
be
it
this.
was like name dropped on a sign or something like that, like in season 2.
Yeah, right.
That might be
Okay.
this place, or they could just be at Vought. You know, we don't know. We don't know
Who
where they
knows?
are.
They also don't have any doors. They're stuck in
No,
a room with no doors. How are they gonna get fed? I've got so many questions about this thing.
and we won't
Like,
find out till next year, or even 2 years from now,
how do you?
depending on what
Oh
they do with
man,
these characters.
this show was so good. All right, I let you ready to talk about the show as a whole?
Let's talk about the show as a
'Cause,
whole.
this show came out of nowhere. It surprised me with how good it was. Seeing trailers from it, the trailers definitely didn't do it justice. It
No,
felt
no.
like it was going to be a high school version of The Boys, and it felt like it was
Yeah.
going to be pretty generic and boring with unlikable characters. You know,
Well,
all
this
that
is the
yada
thing.
yada
I
high
was
school
watching a
schlock.
review of it by some other guy on YouTube, and that he basically, like, this is a good premise to put on how the trailers put it. He basically thought it was going to be like the Riverdale of the boys.
Yeah,
And I was
that's
just like,
what it
yeah, that's
seemed like.
what this themed like, the trailer and everything like that. It was like, nope, this is way more than that.
Yeah, I mean it's insane. And then for the show to come along and blow us away with just how good it was. It took a little bit to get into it. I will say,
Oh
first
yeah,
couple
yeah,
episodes, it took you a while to get to know the characters, and I think that was the hardest part. Is it builds into these characters slowly, and you
yep,
start liking them over like 3 episodes, and then by then you're in. But then when you're
yeah.
in, like everything works. The show just works from then. It's so good. It's as good as The Boys, honestly. I think I prefer it to some of season 3. Like this is
Oh yeah.
like insanely good. And funny, really entertaining, just as gory and just as weird. Like this was
Yeah, yeah.
weirder than The Boys in most parts. It's insane how they came up with this weird shit. But
Oh
yeah, I
yeah,
love
that's
Gen
the
V.
thing. Gen V is
The
amazing.
show.
And that's the thing. I think the reason why it's done so well itself, because this time for this show, they haven't had to base it off the existing material. Like obviously it is set into the world of the boys and everything like that.
Yes.
But there was no comics or anything, no storyline with these characters, or none of these characters, I don't think, beforehand,
all new.
or what we follow
All
and
new.
stuff like that. And so they've actually got to do their own original take with all these characters and everything, and coming from what was a superhero's perspective as well. That's the thing. These guys are soups. The kids that we follow are soups. They all have
Yeah.
powers and everything like that. Where in The Boys, we obviously follow the story of Huey and Butcher and stuff like that, where they're not soups. They don't have powers and everything like that. It's that very like different take on things, but also very in a similar way where they're still very much like, hey, we're soups, but we actually want to do the good thing and we want to help people and everything like that.
Mhm.
And they're not brought up by like how every other soup we see in The Boys is. Because every other like soup we see in The Boys, besides Starlight, is very much like an asshole type character and everything like that, and
Yeah.
very uplifted because they're controlled by Vought and everything like that. It's a very
Mhm.
big thing. Where this character is like, no, these are actually like real people and they have real problems and everything like that. They just have superpowers.
Yeah, for the most part, and they get punished for being good people because
Yeah.
this show doesn't like hold their hand. They do good things. They get beaten down for it. They get locked up
Oh
in the
yeah.
end because they tried to save everyone.
Yep.
They are getting the shit kicked out of them, and it turns some of them bad. That's the villains
Oh
of this
yeah.
show are just the people that got fucked over.
Yep.
Like Kate, the main character that can control minds. She's just been messed with to the point where she's like, I don't care anymore. I'm gonna kill everyone that gets in my way. This is not cool.
Until she gets
then
her
it's
arm
like the main.
exploded off by Marie.
Oh yeah, that was brutal. Her level of power now is insane because she's like, oh wait, people have blood inside them. I can do that. He
Yep.
blows them up, like what she did with the invisible dude as well, translucent son. It
Oh
just kind of
yes.
sees him with. She's got like daredevil
The
vision
veins
now,
and
where she can
everything
just
like that.
sense people.
Just
Yeah,
wax
spidey
him.
senses with the blood.
Yeah.
Like my god. But yeah, no, this show is just as brutal as the boys. The characters are just as likable once you get into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, I would say some of them are really like amazing, with people like Jordan and Emma stealing the show. The main character Marie is probably the least likable out of all of them, but she's kind of
Yeah.
just there
Yeah.
as
She's
the
getting
blank
there.
slate way,
Yeah.
which is fine to have that be a character. Like she's interesting enough as a main character,
Yep.
but it's really the side characters that steal the show. But luckily, they get just as much like time in the limelight as her.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they're really all the main characters. It's an ensemble cast of really good acting and really entertaining moments that just fill this show with fun.
Yep. And that's the thing is, yeah, when you
Gory,
come down to the
awful
characters
fun.
as well, like there is very like real consequences, like with these characters
yeah.
as well. Like they have their own things, or even just using their powers and stuff like that. Because another big thing that got shown in this final episode with Andre's character as well, because he's just been
Yeah.
kind of like sidelined a bit. Like he's been around. I like his abilities and stuff, like because he's meant to be like the
Hey.
next guy to join the
The Seven.
the
He's
Seven
kind of like
and everything like
Magneto.
that.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah,
metal
yeah.
powers.
But it's just like, oh no, the more he uses his powers, he's actually going to kill himself. The more he uses, like his dad's slowly dying and have seizures and stuff like that.
Has like a seizure, yeah, because he's using his powers. It's messing with his brain.
It's killing with his brain.
And that
that's
was
the
a
same thing.
brutal scene too.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
insane. Where everything's crushing in on him. This show is just as good. CGI in this show is getting, the boys' CGI is getting better and better. If you look at like the first couple episodes of the first season to where it is now, the practical effects and the CGI and everything is another level. Like this show is as good as anything you'll ever see out of the current moment.
Well, that's the thing, because what's the
So,
budget for Gen V?
Yeah, look it up.
It's about 11 million per episode.
That's decent. That's a decent amount considering it's mostly one location, with some smaller actors and stuff. Like that's a fairly good amount for this show.
Yeah.
That's insane. But yeah. What would you give the first season of Gen V out of 10, Barry? What are we thinking?
Ooh, I would give it a solid 8. An 8 out of 10. Yep. It's been a phenomenal show, everything like that. I still don't really like the whole high school trope to it a bit. I do like the boys story a bit more, where it's just like, actually like showing adults, because obviously I'm an old man now. I more relate to that than I do with the kids. So that was the big thing about this. But that's the thing. It's so well done. With these characters we have seen and everything like that. And I was not expecting it to be on this high level as well. Like I was thinking it was going to be like a Riverdale type thing, and it was going to be like very like just kind of weird with it all and stuff like that, and very drama-y and stuff like that. It's like, no, they just left it on the same level as the boys, which was great to see. So yeah, I'm giving a solid 8 out of 10 for the first season of Gen V.
That's really cool. I'm gonna give it an 8 as well. Like you said, the whole school thing kind of takes it apart, and it's been done before. There's always the school take on things set in high school, but because this is boys adjacent. This is a spin-off show. You don't have to watch. You probably should, but you don't have to. So you can skip it if you want to, but you shouldn't because it's really good. Like it does the high school thing well, and it also sidelines the high school stuff after like the 3rd episode as well. Like I said, when you really get into the characters, all of a sudden they don't care about classes anymore, and they're just dealing with weird underground conspiracies. It's great, and I love that element of it. And I want to see more from this as well of the boys, and I'd also like to see it take it in its own direction and kind of stay away from the plot of the boys a bit more, because this ties directly into season 4, but I kind of would have liked to see it
that's another thing. Yeah, I don't think they will, just because of like they see what Marvel or Disney are doing with Marvel, and they're like, oh, we're going to do the same thing. That's kind of the whole point on how the show got made in the first place. I mean,
it is cool because like Homelander shows up at the end, and you're like, okay, that's really fucking cool.
And that's the thing as well. Like that entire scene, that final episode when he does rock up, like, oh shit, like everybody knows, everybody in that scene is like, oh fuck.
Everybody's dead.
Because Anthony Starr as Homelander just absolutely steals the show as he comes under. He's so menacing. You're just like, you don't know what this crazy motherfucker's gonna do.
I was insane, and I thought he killed the main character. At the end, she survived. She took that blast. Of course, superheroes.
Well, she's
tougher than everyone else.
Yeah,
but I was like, this show's killed her. The show's gonna kill their main character. Like I wish that they did, because that would have been insanely ballsy from their part. But it doesn't bother me that they didn't really, because I like the character, want to see more of them. But yeah, I was like, holy shit, they're doing insane things. They're not doing anything else. So yeah, it's an 8 from me as well. for Gen
Yeah,
V.
well, that's it. It's setting up for hopefully a good season 2 as well, because obviously, they did greenlight season 2
more
as
mystery
there's more mystery as well. And then, it
more
obviously
mystery.
depends how much they're planning to do with The Boys as well. I think we're only going to see probably a couple more seasons of The Boys, I suspect, just because of where the story is going with that and everything like that. I don't think they want to continue it for too long. Knowing the writers and everything like that, I feel like that's running to its end. But then that could lead off to something else as well. We don't know what they're planning to do.
More spin-offs. They can keep going with this universe. It's showing that it's working, and they're showing that they can consistently make good stuff. So until they fumble and make a bad season, then go for it. Keep making things. Keep expressing your creativity and do different stuff like this show. So check it out, especially if you're a fan of The Boys or if you're a fan of over-the-top violence and high school gore.
Oh, yeah.
Weird sexual things that no one could ever think of in their, wildest dreams.
It's just like, okay, yep, someone's been on the dark side of the internet for far too long.
The show is insane. I love it. It's great.
It is great.
All right, well, should we call the director's cut there?
Gonna be the wrap on the director's cut. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that like button. I suppose I'll hit that one as well. I need to get a different theme for the director's cut. We need something else for the director's cut. I'll work on that. YouTube, just for you specifically. We've got to change it up a bit. Go watch the movies talked about. Go and watch the Gen V, and make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys around.
Do the things.